Going live.
Sounds great.
All right, it says we are live, so I'm going to assume that it is telling me the truth. And greetings, Ionia. It is Wednesday at 3:01. I'm 1 minute late today, but as promised, every Wednesday we will be here at approximately 3 p.m. to deliver highlights of the Ionia area in brick-sized pieces. So don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. You can find all the information on our Facebook page, which is listed at the bottom of my screen here. And today we are here with Dale Parus. Dale is the director of the Ionia Community Library. So we're going to get into some details, ask him some questions about the opportunity that we have in the Mercantile Bank building down on Main Street. And if anybody has any questions during the show, please feel free to drop us a comment. I will have the video up on my other monitor here so I can hopefully see any comments as they're coming in. So before we get started, hi Dale.
Well, hello, Kat. Thank you for having me on today.
Thank you for joining us. You are our very first special guest,
Well, very glad to do it. You're coming up with unique ideas that you can still reach out and get a hold of people in the Ionia community. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. We're glad to be able to do it. We're hoping that more people will sign up. So real quick, before we get into it, throw in a reminder out there. Ionia Chamber members, if you want me to talk about anything that you have going on, whether it's your hiring or you're running specials or have any exciting news, send me an email to info@ioniachamber.net, or you can also send it to me right here on Facebook in a private message, and we'll make sure to talk about it on the show. And we are always looking for special guests for the show. So it is Ionia Chamber members, businesses, organizations. You are invited to join us on the show to promote yourself or to discuss an educational topic. So please let me know if you are interested in joining us. So thank you, Dale, for being our very first.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you for, again, reaching out.
So we all know a little bit about the library, but we're going to get to know a little bit about Dale here first. So Dale, how long have you been in the Ionia area?
I've lived in Ionia now for about 6.5 years and been the library director that time. That's what brought me over this part of the state. Glad to have done it. It's been a wonderful, wonderful segue to Western Michigan, and I'm thoroughly enjoying what we're doing here at the library.
Wonderful. Now, how many employees do you have at the library?
We have a dozen employees at the library. Yep, it's a very lean operation. We hope to expand that in the near future. We do have some exciting news that we can talk about, and then that will allow us to perhaps do some more outreach to the Ionia public. That would be great.
Awesome. So I know you guys have done a lot of shifting too over the last year. So maybe we'll talk about some of that in a little bit. But just to kind of let people get to know their Ionia, is your official title the director? Is it executive director or? Okay.
Just director, that's fine.
I have that correct. Okay. So outside of your time as the director of the library, what do you like to do in your free time?
Oh, well, winter sports, did some snowshoeing this weekend. I used to be a very avid softball player and would still love to throw the ball around. In fact, I did play 1 year here in Ionia and unfortunately lasted one game. The old calf is strong, but not very flexible, according to our sparrow doctors, but they got me healthy. But so just about any outdoor entertainment sport, golf. I'm hoping that I get vaccinated and I'm able to attend your golf outing in May. We'll give you a plug for that. I've got it on my calendar, so let's hope we can get vaccinated for that. But
we're looking forward to it.
Yep, I enjoy a lot of those outdoor activities, no matter the year. I just bundle up in the wintertime for those snowshoeing events, and yeah, nice.
Now, I'm sure you do a lot of reading in your spare time. Have you read any good books lately?
Well, one of the best ones that I've read lately is one that we're reading for our book club here. I'll just go get it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's disappearing into the virtual background, folks.
That's right, yes. So you have this one title that we have here, Sweet Française. We'll be talking about this actually later today with the online book club. We switched to a Zoom online maybe about April or May after we realized that this wasn't going to be a short-lived stint on online programming. And luckily, we've kept a good core group for the two book clubs, the Reader Circle and the He-Man Lovers Book Club. That one, we could use a little bit more help. So more men. I need more men for that one.
More men that like to read.
Yes, exactly. Yep. And they're out there. It's just a matter of joining the community. And basically, we try to pick some themes, Kat, that make some sense, that the group wants to read. And every once in a while, we'll get some help with some of our partners. So, for example, PBS Books is going to do a huge special along with the PBS show. And there will be a 3-part Ken Burns documentary on Hemingway coming up. And so
Oh,
we actually, I asked the group to take our April book off of the list, and we'll do that later, and we'll do a Hemingway book. And then that way you can do all the different programming that's coming up in late February and March with it. And so I'm very pleased that we have those opportunities. And some of those online opportunities actually help us to do that. Anyway, that's what's going on with our book clubs and what I've been reading. Yep.
where's the best place for the community to find information about what kind of programs the library is offering and book clubs?
Oh, right on our website, Ionia. It's simple, ioniacommunitylibrary.org. And just log on there, and my staff has done an excellent job of rehabbing our website over this pandemic to be able to use it more efficiently. Nice clean look. You'll get to the information you want, lickety split.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just making sure we don't have any questions coming in over here. It doesn't look like it. I feel like I love what is it, Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby, where he's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I feel like that on these meetings. I don't know what to do with my eyes. I'm looking everywhere. So forgive me.
Oh, no worries. I've already got up and went into my part of my other office over here.
We're casual, right?
Well, sure, you have to be. I mean, you have to be flexible during a pandemic like this.
That's true. I'd say if there's one thing that we've all gained from this on a personal level, I think we've definitely pushed the boundaries on learning our flexibilities and what we're able to do, right?
Right. Oh, no question. My staff has, after the shock of the first couple of weeks, I said we have to figure out ways to do business, and let's figure them out. And they came through like champs. And when the governor said that we could reopen libraries on June 8th, we were ready, and we were open a couple days on curbside, and then June 10th, we were letting people in the building. Oh, I remember you put a ribbon on our building. Yeah.
I was just thinking, I remember coming out there and I was really impressed with how quickly you all pivoted, and your staff. I've always been impressed with your staff. They stay very involved in the community, and they're very, very dedicated to you and the library and what you guys do. So
Yeah, thank you.
very impressed with how well you guys pivoted through this. So I guess with that being said, let's get a little bit more into the current opportunity at hand. So give us the backstory on that, Dale.
Oh, are you talking about a specific building in downtown Ionia?
I am. A
Oh,
beautiful building, might I say.
it is indeed the Mercantile Building. Well, sure. A little of the background. If you recall, back in say June, July, somewhere around in that period, you started to see articles in the newspaper that the downtown locations for Ionia's banks were closing to the public because they had already had to close for the COVID situation, and it just made sense for them to almost completely close to the public. So the first one was Independent Bank on the corner. And then next week, an article announcing Mercantile's downtown location closing as well. And at that point, I could just see that there were some opportunities, and you could see that the public was starting to discuss it on some online forums and such. And so I called up our library board president, Gail Yeomans, and said, this is something we should get in front of and take a look at. And as things progressed over a number of months, Mercantile reached out to us and said, we could possibly craft a deal that would allow you to have the building as a donation. And at that point, we basically decided that that has to be our new strategic plan. There's no secret that we've been trying to get larger quarters and larger quarters that make some sense. And I really can't speak to any particulars yet about what we will present to the public and the plan that would go forth. But we're hoping that the donation of the building, saving not only Mercantile's location, but then being able to pivot and turn Hall Fowler into a museum, that we're saving two buildings at one time. So we have to give us a few more times. We actually still have some lawyer agreements and other things to work out, but I think we're pretty confident that we're going to be able to put a proposal, Kat, together that the community will support.
So what are the next steps once you get the deed from Mercantile?
Well, actually working in conjunction at the same time, we're having a whole series of feasibility studies, design work, structural engineering work done on it. And then from that, our consultant, which is Fishbeck, will help us put together a layout, and to the point where we can get enough information together to say that renovating this space, which is very nice for Mercantile as a bank, but renovating it for a library would cost this much money to do the renovation, and then whatever cost we need to add on to that for paying other third parties and such, and so that we could put together a solid number to take to the public for them to vote on.
Okay.
So that's happening right currently. Yep.
Work definitely to do still.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Without any doubt, there's no way that we could just march on down there and just move quarters over there. The dollars and cents don't make any sense. We would be reluctant to pass up the opportunity, but in all seriousness, if the public were not to be able to support the plan that we come out with, which we do think will cost quite a bit less than other drives in the past, we would be better off financially not moving.
Sure, absolutely. So what will the Ionia Community Library staff be able to do in the new building that they cannot currently do in the existing library?
Oh, programs. I mean, we're doing things online this year, right? But that's not how humans are. We want to be able to meet each other. We want to be able to have social interaction, and all those things will return. And obviously, there will be a pent-up demand for that type of interaction again on the other side. So not only programs that the library puts on, but also programs could be like this. It could be a chamber event. We would actually have the room to do it. Try that in Hall Fowler, right? That's not going to work, right? But,
do you have 6 computers at Hall Fowler?
I'm sorry?
How many computers do you have at the current library?
Oh, for the public, just 9.
9,
Just
okay.
9. 8 of them in one area and then 1 in an overflow area. We would obviously have them for all age groups. For example, the teens don't have a separate space for themselves to be themselves, and they don't even have their own computer systems to be by themselves. And children that are younger than 12, at the moment, we basically have a mix of people that probably should have their own separate areas. Some of the adults don't like to be next to children when they're having a little bit more rambunctious experience on their computer next to them. It's just a difference of age groups, and we want everybody to be comfortable in the library. So that's obviously something we can't do at the moment, and we can certainly do that with the space at Mercantile. We'll still call it Mercantile for a while. We don't have possession of it.
It's interesting. The first time when I first believe it or not, I've been here almost 2 years now in this role. Um,
Mhm.
Only 8 months of it has been pre-pandemic. And one of the first things I did when I started is I don't know, I met up with you, I think at Rotary, and you
Mhm.
brought me out to the library and you
Yep.
gave me a really good rundown of all of the limitations. So maybe could we briefly, for those who might not, maybe they've never been into the library, or maybe they have, but just don't really identify. Because I guess myself, if I had walked into that library, I would have thought, wow, this is really cool. But I wouldn't have necessarily been able to identify all the things that you pointed out to me that have been obstacles or challenges for visitors or staff. So can we quickly touch on some of those challenges?
Yeah, sure. I would say that one aspect for sure would be that we would find new services for people at the new mercantile location for people who haven't previously used us. Right at the moment, we still get questions, believe it or not. Do you have any study rooms or any meeting space that we can use? No. And I can tell you that in the mercantile, depending on how the design elements come together, those meeting spaces are already in the building. Um, with a few tweaks, maybe you'd have to do a wall separation here or there or take one out, but you could have groups of 4 to 8 people when it's safe to do so for school groups to come in and do their schoolwork after school. That was one of the big things is that there's no place for our teens to go into a group study area and be able to do the work that they need to do out of school because a lot of those assignments pre-COVID were group assignments. The more opportunities you have for those teens to be able to do that, so much the better. Also with adults, we would get requests all the time from everybody from say Girl Scouts to local groups that want to have a meeting with 6 people so that they could talk out some issues and make their nonprofit better. Even folks that are making business transactions, they are trying to make those last few details out and do them face to face with each other and do them in a group setting like that. Depositions from lawyers. I mean, I can go on and on with all of
Sure.
that, but there's all kinds of ways that the community will benefit from those new services.
Sure.
Mhm.
So I do have a question. I had to refresh my Facebook page here, but I have a question from Steve Hodgkins.
Yes.
The building is much larger than the old library. What percent, if you're able to say, will you be using? And are you at all concerned about extra costs associated with maintaining it, including additional utility costs, et cetera?
hmm so for the first part, to put it in perspective, the mercantile floor plan is more than 22,000 square feet. Yep. Hall Fowler's first and second floors add up to 5,500. So that's 4 times the amount of space. And if you take a look at the averages for libraries of serving communities of our size, Steve, the basics are that we are under by a factor of 3. So getting to a factor of 4 bigger could even provide more opportunities. With that said, Steve is absolutely correct that the economies of scale will be there, but some of the costs, and we've looked at the utility costs. Mercantile was kind enough to give a snapshot of them to us. And it does cost a little bit more to run the mercantile building than it would for the Hall Fowler Library. That being said, as part of the plan that we would present to the community, we would account for that in the millage ask.
Okay. Now the millage, when does that go? Is that this year or is that, when does that come about again?
Well, that's one of the subjects that I really can't
Yeah.
talk about and give you a date at this time. That's still
Okay.
being negotiated, and of course, with the pandemic situation as a wild card, I mean, it's
That is fair enough.
right.
So why are all of these things that we've talked about so important for Ionia and the library?
We want Ionia and the Ionia surrounding community to succeed and get to the next level. All of what I spoke about before and more that I'm sure I could put together would allow the community to grow. You would definitely have those aspects of the businesses able to interact with each other and move forward. Um, we would, I think, and it's been said by a lot of other people, not us, that having the mercantile building and most of Independent Bank's building shuttered to the public would not be a good thing for downtown Ionia. And I think that we would definitely spur growth in the downtown community if it were supported. That being said, we would just be one more cog in that wheel of getting the DDA and the downtown area up and up and up to 2 or 3 levels of beyond what it is at the moment. And I think we could be a catalyst for that.
I agree. I think that would be a really good thing for the downtown and Ionia in general.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other questions coming in, and I think I've exhausted my questions. I will give it a couple of minutes for anybody else. Type them into the Facebook. I will continue to refresh the page here and make sure I don't miss any. But while we're waiting to see if anything comes in, is there anything else you'd like to add, Dale?
It's really unfortunate that this pandemic happened and it's been dragging on for a year, and it's most likely going to be all the way through for another 6 months, maybe even longer. But maybe it was fortunate as far as the library is concerned. If you recall, we were coming back with another proposal after our 2018 drive had failed. And we thought that we were gaining a lot of momentum after we realized that the Hall Fowler building was a very important piece of that overall puzzle. People were reluctant for us to leave Hall Fowler without a guaranteed amount of money and plan for that to occur. That being said, when the pandemic came in, we just ceased all efforts on that particular drive. And if that didn't happen, this whole scenario here with the mercantile building, which is very solid, um, may not have occurred. And this actually might be another piece of the puzzle that puts the entire puzzle together, because it saves mercantile building. Hall Fowler, we are committed to making sure that they have funding so that that building can transfer into a museum. And just having another space in the downtown area to go forward in. That may not all have occurred. And
Isn't that
so,
funny how that works?
right, right.
It's honestly, I think I saw that you had responded. I'd sent out, again, Ionia Chamber members, please pay attention because we're putting together kind of a video of a year in review. And it's really supposed to be kind of a positive and light and kind of fun video, maybe making fun at some of the stuff that we've encountered. But really the focus is, yeah, this year's really sucked and we've all had to really push ourselves to our limits.
Yeah.
But I know I can personally say this isn't how I would have wanted to start this job, my first couple of years in a pandemic. But without having started in a pandemic, I just can't imagine. This has given me so much exposure to things that I wouldn't have had experience or had experienced in probably 5 to 10 years on the job. So not as good of a story as yours. That's a really moving story. And I think there's a lot of our businesses and organizations that have found strength through all of this and found, if we hadn't been put in this situation, we might have never had something this positive come out of it. So it's really nice to hear that happened for you guys, or that it has the ability of happening.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, like you say, you learn how to pivot and quickly. Some of the things that we're doing now with our e-card, for example, if you go onto our website, ioniacommunitylibrary.org, you'll see that we offer a starter digital card, and we'll have a jot form, and you can fill it out, and we get back to you, and you can have services during the pandemic here. And then when you wish to upgrade it into a full service card, you just come in at a later date. So just a new service like that we were able to pivot and dream up. We started our curbside up. Why not? Everybody else is going curbside, even restaurants, right?
Yep.
So we've developed the same thing. You roll on up into our parking lot, you text us, or you give us a call. We come on out. Some folks, I mean, if they can't get out of the vehicle for whatever reason, if they're disabled or if they are just not ready to come inside because of the COVID situation, you just call us up ahead of time. We'll have it ready for you. You give us a call in the parking lot and we come on out. Our staff does not mind getting out of the building and into the cold. It actually gives them a little bit of a break from being
Sure.
behind plexiglass and all of that all day.
So
So make use of our service. Yes,
yeah, we do have another question.
sure.
Um, this one's from Mary Batter. Steve had another conference call and wanted me to tell you thank you.
You're
Um,
welcome.
Mary Batter would like to know if the Mercantile Building, I'm not sure if she's referring to the Mercantile Building or the library. She says, does it need a lot of repair, like things we can't see? And I was just wondering what may happen to the other building.
Yeah, it's hard to say what she's looking at. Well, we'll focus on the mercantile building at the moment. Like what before when I said that we were doing strategic planning and um, feasibility studies about that, that took into account a walkthrough with a professional to be able to say, okay, this is how the building is envisioned. Long story short, the feasibility study came out. Yes, you can do this. It will make a fine library. However, here's some of the things that are coming down the road that you may want to look at. And there's nothing special about all that process. It's like, okay, the air conditioners are 20 some years old and whatnot. They're not going to fail tomorrow, but their life expectancy is where it's at. So
Sure.
long story short, you put all that information together and you have a good idea that, okay, you're going to have this much more for a maintenance budget than you would for Hall Fowler, where we don't have as many air conditioners, for example. Um, the, um, the Hall Fowler building itself, to Mary's point, it does have some hidden things that most people don't see. The elevator or glorified lift in the place is certainly in constant need of some service. I would swap the existing mercantile elevators in a minute if I could, just for example. That's a maintenance concern. The roof of the Hall Fowler was redone in 2008. I mean, it's coming up towards its 20-year endpoint. Um, um, Certainly, there's compressors and other things that need to be constantly worked on. It could certainly use a little tuck pointing, etc. The sandstone is nice, looks beautiful, but it does have a maintenance cost to it.
Sure.
So yeah, any building, especially one that's historic, you could certainly put a lot of maintenance into it at one time or another.
Sure.
But again, it's not overwhelming at either location. It's things that just need to be done and happen. So my bottom line is that our maintenance costs at either place are going to be there, but they're manageable.
Sure. And that Halls Fowler's building would make a beautiful historical museum. That would be really neat.
It's interesting. There's a lot of communities that have done that with their old libraries. So if you go around Michigan, several of them have done it recently, as a matter of fact.
It's a good idea.
Oh yeah, like Traverse City is a prime example. If you go up to the Traverse City area, they turned their old library into a very, very beautiful museum.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think I have any. I've gone through my questions. I think I've addressed all of the questions that have come in through the comments.
Mm-hmm.
So Dale, any final comments?
I am just very thankful to the Mercantile Corporation for thinking of us. When they put out feelers to us, we had already had it in our mind that this was a fairly good idea. It just needed to kind of coalesce and gel, and it did. And so I'm very very thankful to Ray Reitzma, the president of Mercantile Bank, and his foresight into that when he put into his press release that um, turning it over to a community organization like the library, the Mercantile Building, for the future, and then have them being the new custodians of this beautiful landmark building in downtown Ionia. I couldn't thank him enough for saying that.
That's an amazing thing to do. I think I'm glad that you said that because I wanted to make sure to make a point to say that too. Very, very, very impressive thing. We were just floored when we saw that. I know I had heard rumors, but when I read it in the paper and it was actually coming true, and I just thought, what a generous thing. It just really goes to show how we have some really, really great companies and organizations in our area that really, really invest a lot in our area and into the hope for our future. I mean, really. So don't forget to say thank you to those organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. We just have, I think, a plan that gives us a fighting chance the next time that we do make an ask of the community. We feel that we should be able to bring it in at a price that would be lower than past drives for sure. And again, would save two buildings in one package and spur some good community development downtown.
It's a win, 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 win.
I think so.
Well, Dale, I will let you get out of here if you'd like. Thank you so much again for being our special guest. I have a couple more reminders I'm going to throw out before I sign off for the day, but it was great to see you.
Yeah, thank you. As things develop down the road, I'd love to be on again. We'll see how things go over the spring. And okay,
Sounds like a plan. Keep me informed.
will do.
All right.
Thank you very much. I'll sign off and
All
take
right.
care.
Take care.
Mhm.
Yeah. Can we figure out how? I did this the other day.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Ta-ta.
All right, guys, it's back to just me. That was very, very informative. Thank you for those who tuned in and asked questions. We will continue to bring special guests on the show. If there's somebody you're dying to hear from, maybe it's just because you're curious, or I don't know, let me know and I'll see if I can get them on the show. Maybe you want to see behind the scenes of one of our Ionia area businesses, or maybe you'd like to hear updates from a local professional organization, or kind of learn more about what they do in our area. Let me know and I'll see if I can bring them on the show. Otherwise, please tune in. We'll be here every Wednesday at 3 p.m. or approximately 3 p.m. And next week, we will be hosting Big Brothers, Big Sisters. So Jamie Griggs will be joining us, and we'll be talking about their work, not just in the Michigan Capital Region, but also how they give back to the Ionia area and the impact that their work has in the Ionia area. So very, very interesting topic. If you have any questions, please feel free to send them to us before the show. You can send them to our Facebook page via Messenger, or you can send them to info@ioniachamber.net. Couple more quick reminders before I sign off. Don't forget to get out there and spend your community cash gift certificates. We know you're sitting on them. There's about $30,000 worth out in the community right now. So let's get those into the hands of our businesses and let's go out and spend them. So whether it's a splurge for you or maybe a Valentine's gift for your loved one, because that is coming up this weekend. Great time to get out. It's a perfect gift for anybody. They are available for purchase 24/7, 365 days a year. You can purchase them right at ioniachamber.org, and they can be used at about 40 local businesses. So it is the perfect gift certificate for everybody. Really, I think that's about all I had to cover for today. Thank you again, Dale, for joining us on the show. Very, very interesting learning more about the Ionia Community Library opportunity. And again, we will be back every Wednesday at 3 p.m. So until next week, have a great week, Ionia. Happy Valentine's Day.